I guess I'm just going to let them deal with this. I don't really know how to respond to this because I'm their publicist.
I'll tell you how to respond. You give me the $1,000 fucking dollars. I want a G in quarters.
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Growl. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
All right, what's 48 minutes of dogs barking? My name's Jason. This is Brian.
Hey.
We got some very special guests in the cut tonight. I want to take a minute to introduce them. First up, experimental musician, filmmaker, producer, artist, not to mention former member of the Icarus line. Please welcome Joe Cardamone. And alongside Joe is artist, photographer, filmmaker, music journalist, all vinyl DJ, co-founder of Buddyhead Records. Please welcome Travis Keller.
Thanks for having us. Where are you guys located?
Oh, we're here in St. Louis, Missouri, the beautiful Midwestern, freezing our asses off type of place.
Nice.
I understand you two are in Los Angeles, California.
We're here, and it's chilly enough to wear a jacket.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
This is like the 3 weeks of the year where it's like jacket weather.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It's scarf, beanie, gloves, heavy coat weather right now.
Whoa.
If you're cheap, it's good weather to keep your meat outside so you don't have to pay for the freezer.
I always keep my meat outside.
So for those of you in the audience not familiar with these two, as I mentioned before, Travis, co-founder of Buddyhead Records, and one of the bands that was on Buddyhead, of course, was the Icarus line. Joe here, a former member of them. Now, Joe, you went solo, right?
I mean, I do collaborate with people on the reg, but most of my, kind of like a recorded output over the last couple of years has been like without a band, sans band.
That's probably the way to go these days. I got to be honest.
Kind of. Well, I think the reason a lot of people are doing that kind of stuff or just pared down bands is primarily for probably economic reasons. Mine was just because it was like, playing to stuff I recorded. It was like playing to people who were doing exactly what I wanted them to do.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I remember talking to Harmar Superstar one time, and he was talking about how back in the day he used to tour with an iPod for like that exact reason.
He did. But I saw him with bands too. He had kind of a slamming band for a while.
He did, yeah. I was lucky to see him a couple of times, 10, 12 years ago. Just what a voice! What like an incredible voice for an unfortunate looking guy.
The Ron Jeremy of indie rock or whatever.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that, and I was also thinking about he's the Stavros Halkros of indie rock as well.
Put them together, and you got Harmar.
Yeah,
He's now a mailman.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. He's going to get that government pension.
Pretty sweet.
Someone should get it.
What's happening this week? The number one story: a United Healthcare CEO gunned down in New York City. Can I get an F in the chat?
Yeah.
Probably the coolest thing that happened all year.
Just the beginning, right? Let's hope this is a trend.
Apparently, all of the other major insurance companies have taken down like their pages for like their board members and stuff on their websites.
Right.
So we screenshotted.
Oh yeah, they're up
for
there.
Your asses.
Even the folks at Blue Sky, whomst I love very much, did take down the initial round of CCTV footage of the killing. But someone by the name of To Your Left has a copy of the video set to, of all things, the solo from Freebird. It's all 30 seconds of it.
It's so good. It is the hardest three notes have ever been played on guitar.
Guy's an operator.
We were cheering in our living rooms. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I had a spring in my step.
I mean, Travis, you even posted here, the internet is so sick today, but imagine if a CEO got blasted every day.
That'd be dope.
It feels like Adbusters in real life.
For sure.
They wish.
So is a bullet a pre-existing condition? I know everyone's making that joke, but I've had United before. It was the worst healthcare ever had any job.
I have it currently, and yeah, it's not
Yeah.
great.
I had it for a second. I think we all have had it at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think just seeing the internet's response too was like gave me a little faith in humanity again. It was like pretty much unanimously, no one cared.
Right.
Yeah, everyone celebrated it.
I don't think since Shinzo Abe have people felt so good about an assassination.
Well, Shinzo Abe, that guy got with like the doohickey, like
The fucking Fallout gun. Yeah, just the guy was buying fireworks and like hollowing out the gunpowder so he had something that combusted. Just like all of this.
User Mag, Taylor Lorenz's newsletter did a great bit on it with the header image that I just love. It's the happy star that says CEO down and all the balloons. Title is Why We, in quotes, Want Insurance Executives Dead. The subhead, no, that does not mean people should murder them, but if you've watched a loved one suffer and die from insurance denial, it's normal to wish the people responsible would suffer the same fate.
For sure.
I mean, and it goes through a lot of the exact same jokes that we all just made, hope the hospital they took him to was in network, pre-authorization for our condolences. At It's Big Honkin' on Twitter has this, you're laughing? A wealthy CEO who profited off the health concerns and often worst moments of millions of people's lives got shot point blank in broad daylight and they can't find the suspect because too many people wanted him dead to narrow it down, and you're laughing? Yes, I am.
We're crying tears of joy. You think it's going to happen again? You think we'll see another one?
Considering that Blue Cross Blue Shield immediately reversed a particularly onerous decision that very same day, I'm starting to think they're getting a little freaked out by it at very least.
Fuck, I hope someone goes again. It would be cool if psychos did this instead of shooting up schools. Like if we could redirect them towards,
right.
American oligarch psychos. Man.
If we just get Andrew Tate to say that the most manly thing you can do is murk an oligarch as he's walling away from his Escalade.
Ooh. Oh boy, those guys get no love from me. But a couple of guys did get some love, at least recently. That's right. Destiny and Nick Fuentes apparently had an intimate moment taped and leaked. You saw this here. This was the Express Tribune breaking this story. Alleged leaked sex tape of streamer Destiny and Nick Fuentes surfaces online.
And boy, they look like two guys that worked at GameStop 20 years ago.
So Destiny is an ostensibly, I don't know, he's more of a centrist. He's just kind of a debate YouTuber guy. He goes on, he's like, well, you see, capitalism actually rocks.
Is there also some weird thing of where he might want to have sex with a horse?
I don't know anything about that.
Or yeah, there's something there.
That's like all I know about him.
Oh, okay.
He's a debate nerd, and apparently he's horny for Clydesdales or something.
Whoa,
horsecock.
Yeah.
And then Nick Fuentes is he's an internet Nazi. I think that's the easiest way to go about it.
He was Kanye's buddy for a minute.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to see if they'd let him in the Nazi party. They were like, sorry, bud.
Yeah.
We liked Jesus, but not enough to let you in. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine, just like using a rich guy for a ride across the country on a private jet. Just like, yeah, man, I don't know. But hey, I gotta go.
Fucking hell.
So, yeah, apparently the two of them were caught in flagrante in a leaked video. Now, we have no confirmation.
They got like a gay sex tape? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, essentially. It's
nice.
It's Destiny blowing Fuentes. But again, we don't know for sure that it's Fuentes, but the guy for sure does look like Destiny. And yeah, it got weird.
Were they out of the closet before the tape?
I would imagine not, considering Fuentes, is only 26. His whole deal is like women are the evil of the world and Jews are awful. So probably not.
So this is how he wanted to do it.
I guess that could be what he meant by your body, my choice. But,
Totally.
He did respond to this on Twitter. My haters spent their entire Thanksgiving watching gay porn to verify a rumor published by a Pakistani newspaper just to hurt my reputation. Nick Fuentes derangement syndrome.
Oh, that's
Nice try, bud.
I did see some comments that whoever the individual that we are saying might be Destiny, not a great head game.
No.
Which just adds insult to injury.
And then on Lucky Llama Music got in on this. They capped some video of Destiny responding to this. All right, he's saying a friend of his account that he used to talk to 3 or 4 years ago got hacked. Maybe some video released.
Interesting.
Got to keep your account safe. Multi-factor, man.
Yeah, his OPSEC.
Very
OPSEC
bad.
and the head game, not so great.
Well, when it's both, that's when you know it's really trouble. if you don't have good OPSEC, at least be gawking. Come on, let's go.
Be good at giving head. I mean, you should be good at giving head anyways in life, but
this is a general rule.
Yeah.
It's that California internet keeps dropping you.
Hey, the tsunami got us.
I thought for a split second maybe, but then I was like, no, wait a minute, that's way up north. What am I talking about? I even asked you that question too when we got on, didn't I? Like, hey, you guys being affected by that at all? My not geography knowing ass.
Maybe it's another brush fire. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I have not been to California in over 10 years, so I don't know what's going on out there.
Can you hear us?
Hey.
We can now.
We're actually in Abu Dhabi. We lied. And,
that would explain a lot, yeah.
We had to get out of town pretty quick after that footage of the silencer, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kiwi Farms. You know
No.
what that? All right, so it's a whole website devoted to like dunking on people online and all this stuff, and they were one of the people to host this Destiny Nick Fuentes blowjob video, and
Off.
and I said the surge of traffic to the Kiwi Farms related to Destiny's blowjob video caused a fatal database error, and then they needed to roll back to a recent backup. So, not great. Look, if you're
the epicenter of hate on the internet was so lathered up and feverish about this that the website crashed.
Yeah,
They broke the internet.
yeah,
They pulled a Kim Kardashian.
They broke that shit.
Well, speaking of broke that shit, I know you guys were around when this happened the first time, but Enron's back.
Are they?
So a new website appeared, Enron.com. Buried in this site is a disclaimer that it is, quote, a parody, but it does look very legit. Yeah, it's very slick. It looks like there's a countdown to something. It's 4 days.
A brownout?
A countdown to a brownout, yeah. And they're doing all these slick videos, you know. But one of my favorites is they're spelling out their name in an acrostic, right? And it's like energy, nature, and then the R is repentant.
This feels like an old internet parody that we haven't seen in a minute.
This type of parody, yeah.
Yeah, where it's not too obvious. Like it gives you, it takes you a second to realize, like, wait a second, is this for real? Is this like Bonsai Kittens or something? Like,
yeah.
You know, but the repentant is that's almost, it's like Enron's gone woke, everyone.
Yeah. And then the last is at the end is for nice.
That's cute.
And so a lot of people have been talking about this naturally. They're thinking about, you know, oh, what the hell is this for? It's counting down to something. And yeah, Ethan Frame on Twitter pointing out that in the terms and conditions, it says the information on the website is First Amendment protected parody, represents performance art. So that's always nice to know. Also buried in the website is a header for decentralization. That's right. Matt, you know the one at undefeatedmatt.wifeguy.online. Anyone have Enron returning from the dead to spin up a crypto scam on their bingo card? Because it feels like a crypto scam in the making.
Oh, God. What do you guys know about crypto?
Too much.
Way more than we should.
Yeah.
Enough to not mess with it. That's my number one.
I know nothing about it. Like, virtually nothing.
It's fake internet money that could, for a while there, was really only used to buy drugs and child porn.
And now you can, last time I was in Las Vegas, I saw slot machines where you could,
oh no,
you could buy creds for a slot machine with Bitcoin, which felt like exhausting task because one of the things about Bitcoin is not great is its speed of transaction is it gets slower and slower as there's more and more data on the blockchain.
Oh, wow.
So imagine like you really just need to spend your kid's college fund and now you gotta wait like 10 minutes for the next hash rate to go through. That kills the vibe the gambler is looking for. I just don't see it working in that avenue.
Well, especially if the machine's hot, you got to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wild world.
So you guys aren't into crypto at all?
Fuck no. No.
I say with a smile on my face. Obviously, I would hope that you'd be smart enough to not be, but yeah.
We're just too poor to be into it.
Well, there's that too.
You guys just need to start leaking Courtney Love's phone number again until she buys you some Ethereum to stop.
I mean, I think Travis had some crypto for a minute or something. And I think I had it for like 2 days and I was just like, wait a minute, did I just throw money down a toilet? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's a bad idea.
I hate to say it, but yeah.
I knew a couple people that, as a joke, had like an old computer and like mined Doge when it was worth literally nothing. They just kind of like, I got this old computer. It's a joke. It's a whatever. And then Doge exploded 3 or 4 years ago, and a couple of those people are like, "Where's that hard drive? Oh God, where's that hard drive?"
Oh wow.
It's probably like 12 grand of Doge that's like sitting on a hard drive somewhere in like my mom's closet back home. And
find that shit.
Absolutely. Well, there's a guy that's
Take it to Vegas.
Yeah, I know. Take it to Vegas.
There's a guy that's like sifting through a landfill.
Oh God.
Because he believes there's a hard drive of his that he accidentally threw away that has Bitcoin on it that is now worth $800 million.
Tight.
That's got to give you a certain kind of madness. The sift through a landfill hoping you can find a hard drive that still works, that doesn't have a broken platter.
Right.
I don't know if y'all ever seen a landfill, but there's a lot of shit in there.
He should just move to the dump. It's like, just move there, bro.
Just live there. You can be like the fucking dad from Trailer Park Boys, living in the dump with the seagulls.
Yeah, man. Oscar the Grouch.
So my favorite detail, the last thing I'll talk about the Enron thing, my favorite detail is at the bottom of the page. If you go and you subscribe to their newsletter for whatever godly reason you'd want to do that, at the bottom of that email that you first get, the address, yeah, that's right, 1100 Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida, Mar-a-Lago, everybody.
Nice.
The summer White House, yes.
Yeah.
Tight.
Well, speaking of crypto, though, it is time for our crypto scam of the week.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the crypto scam of the week.
I know.
That's right. Drum roll that shit.
Exactly.
We got something special this week.
So I suppose, because the two of you are on the internet, you're familiar with Haley Welch, also known as the Hawk-Tua girl.
Heard everyone lost their money.
They did indeed. So this here from the Cointelegraph, Hawk-Tua meme coin dumps 90% amid a backlash over the controversial launch. The launch of Haley Welch's Hawk-Tua meme coin sparked outrage because the token pumped and then dumped right away. She has denied any insider sales or activity. Yeah, I know. It was launched 10 p.m. UTC yesterday, rose to a peak market cap of $490 million. It then dropped to a valuation of $41.7 million, 90% in 3 hours, according to this screen grab here from Dex Screener. Hoo boy.
Yeah, don't spit on that thing. Yeah. If I'm going to do a Morning Zoo DJ riff on that, like just... What's next? Crazy Frog coin? I mean, it's probably
already out there. Yeah,
it's probably. I mean, I'm sure someone's done it, but you want to talk about getting rid of whatever goodwill you have. Launching a crypto coin seems to be a really good way of like making sure whatever minutes of fame you have that are left are completely spent.
She's just cashing out.
I mean, look, who can blame her? Because clearly the Talk to a podcast isn't going that hot.
It's already over. I probably would have done the same thing, to be honest. Someone's like, look, this is almost over. Let's burn this place down. I'd be like, all right, fuck
it. the Hawk. Oh, Jesus Christ.
There's an image that Haley Welch herself on Twitter posted. Hawkonomics.
Sick.
And it's breaking down all the different details about the coin, but the post that accompanies it is very funny. Team hasn't sold one token, and not one KOL was given one free token. We tried to stop snipers as best we could through high fees in the start of launch. Fees have now been dropped, so she's going back to that well. Yeah, one wallet managed to snipe all the tokens, purchasing 17.5% of the supply, and then dump it for $1.3 million worth of profit.
Man, good work if you can find it.
You know what they say. Stick with what doesn't work.
When it comes to crypto or practically anything else, yes, I would be inclined to agree.
What happened to just like having like your own hot sauce?
Right.
And the hot sauce that spits on the thing that you want to be hot.
Tequila and hot sauce.
Sauce Tua. Hot on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have to come up with every idea?
Do you have to do
for her?
everything for them? Yeah, I'd buy that hot sauce.
I would too, for the novelty of having the bottle, but still.
It can't be any worse than Steve-O's hot sauce.
Have you guys had the Steve-O hot sauce?
Unfortunately, I have not really had the pleasure yet, you know?
How about you?
I haven't. I've heard it's okay. You'd think from Steve-O it'd be a little bit more gnarly.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you want to like do an acid drop off like the back of a semi or something, but like
You expect it to taste worse coming from Steve-O?
I don't know.
You guys are supposed to put it in your eye.
Oh, that's okay.
You're fucking it up, man.
Well, my brother, he lived in Santa Fe for a couple of years, and he told me that there were so many like burnt out hippie types in that town that you'd just be like driving through and see some guy like on his front porch like putting habanero oil in his eye, just because I was like, he was so burnt out that was the only way he could get high.
It's the only way you can feel.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, we're getting close to that juncture in our lives, to be honest.
Yeah, where you guys at right now as far as
Lewis, I want a new drug.
Yeah. We're still at the pouring lemon juice and cuts stage, but we'll get to the hot sauce in the eye.
Have you guys thought about adding salt to the lemon juice?
Down. I'm down for whatever can make the pain fade.
Well, speaking of making the pain fade, I don't know. That's the best transition I got right now. We're here to talk about, of course, both the return of Buddyhead and this Indiegogo for On the Lash, the Buddyhead movie. We got about 40 days left as of this recording. It'll be about 30 or so days once this comes out. We're at about 10 grand. How we feeling?
I'm feeling like some people haven't put in enough money, but also, grateful that it seems pretty good for how far we in. I need some of my big spenders to step up to the plate. That's for sure.
I appreciate the fans and audience that has been supportive so far. And then there's a couple of sugar daddies out there that know that they could fucking drive this train. So it's like, let's go, champions.
You fucking call up Axel.
Right?
Courtney Love. I mean,
We're trying to get the word out now.
All right, so tell me about the movie On the Lash. I've seen both of the trailers that you put up here on the Kickstarter, and they look fucking amazing. 250 DV tapes?
Yeah. I don't know. I came from skateboarding, and that was like, you had to kind of film everything to prove that you pulled certain tricks and stuff. So I kind of grew up like documenting my friends and skateboarding and made skateboard videos. And then when I moved to LA, I kind of landed in the middle of the punk scene with the Icarus line, and I just kind of kept filming. And my friends were in bands and putting on shows and, going on tour and stuff. So, it's just something I've always kind of done is document my life. So, and when I landed in LA, I just knew I was in the middle of something special. So started hauling tapes and batteries and video cameras around,
That's a lot of tapes. Where were you storing these? Was this just kind of like I found it in a storage locker or what?
That's kind of like a whole other story, really, just how the tapes have survived. But I mean,
they were like in a shoebox.
Yeah, they were like in a shoebox, and it's traveled around. It's kind of amazing that they actually did survive.
It's changed hands and ownership and been stolen and retrieved, and Yeah, there's a whole saga to the tapes unto themselves, but they finally made their way back home, which is nuts.
It does sound like a bit of a journey there. What was the imperative to start putting this project together?
It's something that we've wanted to do since I shot the tapes. Like even on the tapes, we're telling people that we're making a movie. So it's like it was always the intent to do this. Like since like we shot it, I guess we thought we were important. It's just kind of taken this long for us to kind of have, I think, the mental space or to like be able to like step back and look at it. Like I guess the time.
Yeah,
and,
just like an emotional distance from it, so that we don't have to, get wrapped up in our own egos too much.
Yeah. It's because like a lot of the people that are on the tapes, like either we're not friends with, or some of them aren't even alive. And it's our lives. So even putting the tapes in like 2020 was like kind of a heavy experience for me, because there's like just a lot of people that we don't see anymore. And then as like we've kind of like worked with it and watched the tapes and logged them and put them all on the computer, it's kind of become more of like they're all kind of characters. And now I'm kind of like excited to make this movie. I guess that's a long way of saying like we're finally at the place now where we kind of have like enough distance from all of it to like, I think, kind of make the movie that we've always wanted to make and that like the fans also want to see.
I'm really stoked about the project. To give a little bit of history about myself, in high school, I have a friend who turned me on to Buddyhead. He was always like, oh, dude, you got to check out Icarus Line. You got to check out Hot Snakes, all this stuff, Trail of Dead. Because I didn't have internet at home at the time, but he did because his dad was a weirdo. But that was always like, dude, you got to check out this band. You got to do this. And like the gossip page ended up being like one of our favorite things. Like, I'd come to school and he'd be like, hey, man, they updated the gossip page. You got to check this out. And for me, as a weirdo kid in the Midwest, like seeing that there was something going on and that there was, really creative writing and documentation. And it was funny. It wasn't boring. I mean, like I love Greil Marcus. I think he's a great music journalist, but I don't want to read everything that feels very academic like that. I want something to feel a little weird and a little edgy and a little not afraid to speak truth to power.
It's like hanging out with your friends instead of like some square that's trying to like write something that your parents could also read,
I came into it as someone who read Spin magazine religiously. Sure. And I was like, well, let's see what this whole internet thing is about. And then I stumbled upon the gossip page. I was like, okay, you're not going to see Chuck Klosterman writing this shit.
For sure.
There was really nothing else like it and not much like it since. When it came to the things like the gossip page, was that just kind of like taking a shot at the establishment, or was it just like we're in these weird circles and we're running around all these people? And I remember, Travis, there's a photo of you or that you took of Jack Osbourne like smoking a foilie or something in the back of someone's car. Like that seems like to me still like how'd you end up in that situation?
It was Kelly Osbourne.
Oh, Kelly. Okay, sorry.
Weed, yeah. I have a shot with Jack Osbourne where we're doing a shot of tequila though.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I think he's like a teenager.
Entertainment community was not so segregated back then. So
before cell phones.
Yeah. So you would just kind of run into people at things. I think people weren't worried about getting their photo taken or anything like that back then. So I think it was a lot easier to kind of just, hang out with someone and snap a photo and no one's even thinking about it because where's that going to end up?
Well, yeah, because the one that I keep thinking of is Trent Reznor holding the black dildo. Which you have for sale.
I'm not allowed to sell it as a t-shirt anymore.
Oh, no. Oh, man. How did that happen?
I don't know. Someone told on me and my store got a letter and then I got shut down for selling. You can't sell merch, I guess, but I can sell prints and I have prints for sale. Honestly, it was his idea to take the photo.
Having seen that video, the 2 cassette thing Closure, where it's a lot of like backstage footage, it makes sense.
My friend had a bootleg of that. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that era of touring, Trent was really just being a real weirdo, so it makes sense. And, he used to hang out with like Pigface and stuff, so that kind of fits.
Yeah, he was sober when I knew him. Or at least, I think, it was with Teeth era. So.
Oh, okay.
I saw Nine Inch Nails on that tour, and that's probably the best I've ever seen them. I've seen them a few times. Watching Aaron fucking thrash around his Hagstrom the whole entire set, and Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age making fun of the crowd. The crowd did not have any movement except for No One Knows, and when it came to that big breakdown, they just didn't play it. And he's like, yeah, try mosh to that, you dumbasses. I'm like, amazing.
So the documentary is called On the Lash. Now, if I remember my Icarus line correctly, that is an Icarus line song, yes?
Correct.
It was a single. It was on the Underworld soundtrack.
One of our many hit songs.
I was going to say, I knew it from somewhere, right? Yeah, it's the Underworld soundtrack. Sure, yeah.
It's also Australian slang for like being fucked up or like, being on a run,
Yeah, a wastoid.
Being a wastoid, being fucked up. Yeah, it's slang for that. They had a tour called the On Lash tour that was through Australia as well. It's not an original idea.
I love Australian slang. One of my favorite ones is when you take a smoke break and you're on smoko. I just love that. I'm on smoko.
Yeah, better with the accent for sure.
It sounds real. I want you to use the accent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Me saying it in my natural, no, it doesn't.
I didn't believe you until you did the accent. I was like, I don't know.
There's a band called The Chats. They even wrote a whole song. I'm on smoko, so leave me alone.
The Chats. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of the Chats.
Yeah, they're a hoot.
They're like a punk band, right? Kind of like a angular punk band.
Yeah, like an Australian Thermals.
Yeah,
yeah. One of my young friends turned me on to them.
I have one thing that bugs me. So multiple times it says in the trailer you turned down big money for someone else to buy the website.
Yeah, we did this a bunch of times. Like Den.net offered us money. Different labels offered us money.
Labels wanted to buy Buddyhead?
Yeah, I think like it was either Interscope or someone like that.
Oh
is
my
it,
God.
Is it because you guys stole Fred Durst's hat? We got to shut these guys down.
I mean, honestly, it was just like the .com boom. It was because like, we had an audience. We had 9.5 million people looking at the site. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, Joe.
What about it?
I don't know.
What about, you know what? Best answer. That's good.
What are you asking again?
Yeah, we turned down, we blew all kinds of big opportunities.
Like we came from like punk rock and just thought like, selling out was like the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. We came of age in the 90s. So it was like an embarrassment to align with products that you didn't develop yourself. So like any like product that isn't, from your circle seemed very suspect to us, and like relinquishing creative control of your voice or your art also just did not sit well with us at all, so we really had a hard time kind of selling out, which is maybe unfortunate in the long run, but that's where we were at.
Yeah, we just didn't have anyone telling us that like, that was a good idea or not. We were like in control. And also I was like, not like I was rich, but I was like making enough money to like survive and like catch up with the Icarus line on tour and like do whatever I wanted. So to relinquish like the vision and the name and all of that to like something that would probably ultimately just be whack.
Destroy it.
It just seemed like it just never seemed like an option, because I just assumed if it was worth 9 million now, it was going to be worth like 20 million in a few years. So we'll just fucking hang out.
Yeah. And we both have a like sort of innate distrust for authority too, just like naturally. So that just doesn't help with any of that kind of shit.
In the intervening years, you did build American Primitive, which is pretty damn amazing. And Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's our new baby.
Pretty damn impressive. I'm psyched to see both the doc and whatever else comes out from this. I know that you guys have already done 40 music videos.
A bunch.
Yeah, a bunch.
That's got to be pretty dope, having that. Just like, we can do what we want.
Yeah, it's great to be able to have creative control. There's always a trade-off for that. It's great for us to be able to kind of run the ship ourselves. With that comes like responsibility and woes, but it also comes freedom. It's the old like going into business for yourself thing.
And it feels like LA is probably one of the few cities where you can like try this still. I tried to make it as a music photographer here in St. Louis 10 or so years ago, and crashed and burned rather famously or infamously, depending on who you talk to. I always think like, well, maybe if I moved to like Chicago or Atlanta or maybe gone out to LA, and maybe I could have got a couple more years out of that situation. But it seems like LA, that's still one of like 3 or 4 cities where if you want to do like what you guys are doing, it's there's some viability left to it. Like if you have the drive and
Yeah, it's just a numbers thing too, because there's so many people here, you know. So it's just you know, the population can support more you know, creative endeavors. I think just more people, you know. In smaller markets, yeah, it must be like hard to be an artist in some ways, you know. Maybe in some ways it's cool because it's cheaper to live. So if you're doing something that's like self-sufficient, like painting or whatever, you can make a go of that. But for stuff like documenting other art, you know, there's just going to be more opportunities because there's more people doing shit.
I got kind of lucky when I was making a go at it because St. Louis was kind of having a renaissance as far as like its music scene, its art scene, its food scene. Like it was like St. Louis was a bummer place to grow up.
Yeah.
It was a bummer place to live probably until about 2009, 2010. There wasn't a lot going on. We had this venue here in St. Louis called the Creepy Crawl.
I was going to say, Joe, did you play there?
For sure.
Yeah, it sucked. It was a terrible place. And it kind of gave St. Louis a bummer reputation among touring bands. I remember being at shows and, you know, listening to someone from Tilling the Wall tell someone that, like, we just told our management never to send anyone through St. Louis again. And no one from that management came through for a number of years. But all of that changed. There was a couple venues, a couple people that like had heart and had no problem wasting a shit ton of money to like book Hardmar Superstar, our book weird hip hop shows, like do stuff that wasn't just like bad ska music or like butt rock. Like stuff was happening for a couple years and it was pretty tight. And then that kind of all fell apart 5 or 6 years ago. And now it's kind of rebuilding again. Yeah. Like when there's a lot going on and you have a camera, it almost feels like there's too many things to point your camera at. And then there's times where it feels like you're struggling.
Sure.
Joe, I got to ask, I still have not seen it. I'm going to grab it off of a streaming service to rent, but the Icarus Line Must Die is you co-wrote it, you started it for a feature. What was that? Was that your first feature or had you done any like movie work before?
I mean, yeah, that was it, man. That was the first feature for me, you know. I didn't even really, I wasn't even sure what we were doing when we started it, you know. It was like, what is this thing?
I thought it was going to be terrible when he told me about it.
Yeah, you know, it was a shot in the dark. Fortunately, we had Michael Grodner, who was like kind of holding it all together. He's the director, and he definitely like believed more than I did, but pretty quickly into the making of it, it became really like a really interesting exercise to me because I had never really acted before. I'd never written on the fly like that before. And I just fucking loved it. You know, as soon as we did it, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is how movies get made, you know, or like movies that I like get made. And yeah, it really actually inspired like the next sort of chapter in my life.
Yeah, I think we saw that movie, and especially for me, like, you know, I thought it was like going to be terrible when Joe told me about the idea. I was like, oh, someone's going to make a movie about the Icarus Line. Oh, right. And then it actually became like, I think it's a pretty amazing film that like you can not even know who the Icarus Line are. And just, it's more about just like being an artist and, you know, with that type of struggle, I think anyone that's been an artist can relate to it. But at least for me, like seeing that movie made movies and music videos just seem so tangible. Like, oh, we can definitely do this, you know?
Like the whole experience made it more accessible because it was, you know, it was not so much different than like throwing a band together, writing some songs and making a record. You know, I mean, it's the same kind of spirit behind it.
Right, because you had a lot of musicians kind of playing themselves in the movie too. You had Keith Morris. I mean, again, the members of Icarus Line yourself. You had Annie Hardy.
Yeah, all kinds of pals.
Ariel Pink was in the movie. That's right. That's what I was trying to remember.
Oh, yeah.
So did you know Ariel Pink through just kind of being mutuals via being on the road, or was that something more like, hey, do you want to be in the movie? Kind of.
I've known Ariel since before he was like even Ariel Pink, really. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I just kind of I've known about Ariel and known him since he was like touring around in a hatchback Honda, like hawking tapes. You know, before people kind of like knew what was going on with him. So. Yeah, I've just, you know, he's been in the music scene in LA forever, you know? He seemed perfect for the role. That was like the main thing. It was like, who are we gonna get to play like a dejected band member who's like psychotic and on drugs? It's like, dude, Eric will murder this.
I'm like still part of me here is just kind of like sitting here thinking like if I told 15-year-old me that one day I would have Travis Keller and Joe from Icarus Line on my podcast, I'd be like, huh? Wait,
what's a podcast?
What's a podcast? Second of all, that sounds kind of tight. What do you guys feel is kind of the lasting legacy of Buddyhead? I know it's kind of still a thing in a way today, but its heyday was, a minute ago. But why do you think people still care about Buddyhead? Why do people still talk about it? Why do people like me and Jason want to do a whole entire episode about the best and worst lists that you guys used to do every year? What do you think that is?
I think it's all kind of like leading up to this movie, to be honest. Like I think everything else is kind of like practice for this, if that makes sense. Like I think the real money shot's going to be the story that we're about to tell with this movie. What a lot of people remember is the gossip page and anything that's like kind of like sensational, like putting phone numbers up and stuff like that, which was definitely a part of it. But there was also like a lot of other stuff, like interviews and where we actually like took it serious.
I remember liking the music reviews quite a bit. Those could be very funny and very sharp. But I was like, even if it was a band that I had liked at the time, like the International Noise Conspiracy, I was like, you guys would kind of give them some shit. And I'm like, yeah, if you're going to give that band some shit, like you might as well say, like, I don't believe you guys are really communists if you don't let me leave the show with a table or whatever it was. Do you remember like some of the more serious stuff? I remember you doing, I believe it was Travis that did an interview with King Khan at a festival that I always remember like, oh, that was really fun.
That wasn't me. That was
Is that Meathead?
No, it was just some contributor. I actually forget who did that.
Okay.
But yeah, that wasn't me though.
Okay.
But that was a good interview.
It was a good interview, and like that stuff was neat. And like for me, like someone who was really inspired, like I did music writing, I still do a little bit of music photography. Like that was like a thing that maybe like, oh, there's like stuff you can do, and you don't have to be stuffy, and you don't have to kiss ass all the time. Like you can just go out and you can write stuff and you can do stuff and you can be weird and interesting and you can be a little cynical, because if you're coming from like a place of like of genuine like affection for something, because and you're only being like maybe a little negative or cynical because like you want there to be better stuff, or you want someone to like, hey, I don't think you're really putting your whole ass into this music. It'd be really cool if you gave a shit, or you weren't trying to like chase a trend. Like do what you really want to do, because I think that would be interesting. You trying to sound like, I don't know, Burning Brides, or I don't know, some band that's from 20 years ago. Like that stuff I always thought was really interesting. I think it gave an alternative to what was out there. And you guys were also kind of into like the second to last like big hoorah of the music industry. I felt like the mid-aughts was kind of like the last time there was like it felt like there was like a party for music. Like there was shit in motion, and then the last time was 10 or so years ago. Like the last time it felt like there was a little bit of money that people were willing to take chances to put money behind a weird band or a weird idea or an interesting tour. And now like it's a fucking struggle.
There's just not this sort of like there's not a sort of economy in that industry to like really support that these days, not in the same way anyways. It's everything kind of the whole thing got gutted by streaming, whether people want to, I think people are like finally coming around to acknowledge that that's what happened, but when you're in a business and like the product disappears and you're supposed to become the product by touring, or anything but the product is supposed to be the product. You're like, oh, check out our fucking band branded candle holders. You know what I mean?
Do you need a mannequin pussy weed grinder?
You know what I mean? Yeah. You're like this piece good salesman asshole all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Which is like, for a lot of people, that's not really why we got into it. And honestly, it attracts a certain type of person at that point, right? Because maybe their goal is to kind of use music as a sort of like shoehorn for success in other areas, you know what I mean? But for those of us that it kind of was like a calling to save our life, or something that like kind of maybe connected us to humanity at large when we maybe had problems doing that in the first place, I think it became hard for a lot of those type of artists. And yeah, that's probably why you don't see as much of that happening, at least on a like above subterranean level.
The musician hawking their own wares it's fucking tragic. I got to be honest. Unless it's a t-shirt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even then, it's like, man, like a little bit of mystique goes a long way with an artist. For me as a fan, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know shit about what Scott Walker was doing on the weekend, and I don't want to fucking know, dude. He's just some dude under a baseball hat that like sings, like has crazy ideas, and that's enough.
I think it should be enough for anybody, but sadly that's just not the business anymore.
Yeah. There's like a certain competition for views, or like for people's like space. You're trying to get attention so that you can like grift some cash.
I think Jory Greep, formerly of Black Midi, I saw an interview with him or read an interview where he said something along the lines of like part of like his sense of alienation with being a working musician is that everything you do, you feel like you're a tiny little corporation. Everything has to be so filtered, and it has to be not really about the art. It's about making money.
For sure.
And making money used to be that thing that you did so you could keep doing the art, but now no, it's just making money now.
When you have to be a little corporation like that, then you're sort of like curtailing what you do to make sure that like the community doesn't cut you off, because you're dependent on it for survival. It's definitely not, from my perspective, an ideal way or an ideal atmosphere for art to be made, because it's like, yeah, we're not going to have Sid Barrett today, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's on TikTok getting 120 views.
Right, yeah.
Pretty much, dude.
I'm sure he's on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's a weird one.
Well, today's Sid Barrett's probably like an influencer now, doing street pranks or something.
Hey guys,
let's hope.
Yeah, it feels a little dire, and like
something will fucking click or change at some point, but like it has to affect the consumer, for anything to really happen. So
tickets are fucking expensive, but yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting on that. It's like, yeah, you want to go pay $1,000 to go to a fucking concert? Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a weird time for all of it. And like, I think for the last 15 years, I keep hearing industry people or people saying that they like have the new business model, and like none of them have fucking stuck, man. There's no fucking business model. It's a fucking, it's just fucking Mad Max out there at this point, and it really kind of like the corporate artists are taking the market share more and more. And then there's like, everybody else, and some faring a little better than others, but mostly not doing that great from like my vantage point. I'm not seeing a ton of people doing great. Even like artists that like fucking tour all the time. It's like, yeah, doesn't look good, man. So at some point, hopefully it hits the consumer in a way that they, because it's never going to come from big artists. You know what I mean? They're totally profiting off of the market just shrinking into their favor. So like, it's never going to come from them. Just like it's a microcosm of everything. You know what I mean? That's like how the world works. So it's like, until the consumer demands change for some fucking reason, why would they? They get the fucking milk for free. But like, until they fucking demand it, until it affects them, it's just going to be like this dystopian soup of like 3,000 uploads a second of like whatever the fuck.
Jesus. Yeah, AI music.
How's that for Christmas cheer, boys?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I'm involved with a couple venues here in St. Louis, and I have conversations with the promoter there who is a very, like, I like to think a pretty fair-hearted person, and will eat shit on a band that he thinks deserves to have an opportunity in St. Louis. And he'll even say, like, yeah, we didn't make the margin we wanted on that show. The barring was okay. But he's like, I don't even know, like, even then, if what we paid the band, which was a good amount of money, was sustainable for them.
Yeah.
And that sucks when you're paying someone 5 figures. That would have been like 4 or 5 years ago, a fucking sweet amount of money for that band. And now you're like, well, we paid them good money, but we don't know what their margins are. And that sucks. And you kind of see that part of the ecosystem now starting to collapse. Like, it feels like there's only space for bands that can play like 500 cap rooms and bands that can do stadiums, and there's a little bit of space in between.
The space in between is for people with trust funds. It's like art is becoming a daycare for the rich children, you know what I mean? And then it's like a fucking struggle for the rest.
When I was doing music photography, I was like working a minimum wage job. I was working at Whole Foods, like washing fucking dishes. And how many people that just assumed because I was doing what I was doing, or I was trying to make something out of that, like thought I was like a rich kid. And it's like, yo, I grew up like right outside Ferguson. Like, the house next to where my dad lived in Ferguson, like, is burned out. There's a burned out house on like my grandparents' street in Spanish Lake, which is a famous white flight community here in St. Louis. And like, yo, I'm not a rich kid. And then like you find out like the person that's looking down at you, like, you know, they went to a private school and like had trust fund, and it's like, you assholes.
It's a wild world out there, dude.
I can only imagine how it is out there in LA. I mean, the last time I was out there, I was covering Burgerama for the now widely and rightfully disliked label Burger Records. And the thing that I always liked being in music and messing around with touring musicians, I always found that people from LA were very sweet. And I found people from New York, bands from New York, were always very pretentious. And it was always like people from LA would like listen to you, like, hey, yeah, you don't want to go to the City Museum after the show because someone's going to steal your shit. And be like, oh, okay, thank you. But a New York band would be like, oh, no, like, we're from New York. Like, you guys are hillbillies. We'll do whatever. And then 2 days later, they're on, doing a GoFundMe because their van got broken into. All their shit was stolen because they went to the City Museum.
We told you.
We told you. We told you so many times. But like going out in LA and like talking to people and like hanging out, like I think we went to hang out with some people like Lollipop Records and all that, and like, you know, like around Echo Park, and like how many people like when they found out we were from the Midwest were just like, oh, that's so cool, that's so neat. What are you guys here for? And I'm like, oh, everyone out here is so nice. I wonder it's because they think like that we're either going to sell them drugs or buy drugs off of them. And that is true. We did buy drugs off of them. You know, I guess there's a reputation of people from LA being a little bit mercenary, but I have found my week or so out there was like, what a bunch of nice people.
Yeah, we're not nice.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because they're all from the Midwest too, bro.
Oh, I figured. I mean, yeah, they're probably transplants.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because I know a lot of folks from my high school did wind up on the coast, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody here's from here, anyways. but I think New Yorkers maybe like they like to wear it as a badge of honor a little bit more. There's like LA's like maybe a little quieter about, you know, where
everyone's stoned here too.
Yeah,
that helps.
And the weather helps. You don't get that cranky when it's warm all the time.
Oh, the weather is beautiful. Smell a little too much like pee, but St. Louis also sometimes smells a little too much like pee. But
oh, for sure.
I was gonna say, have you been downtown?
Yeah, I was like, the heat's bringing that out of the concrete today. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Like I just went to Okie Dog and whatever. I'm fucking chill. Went to fucking Amoeba, you know, did all the touristy, cool kid shit. Yeah, it's just it's a weird place where music is at and that ecosystem. I write for and do some photography for a local website here called the Arts STL. It's all people that if there was still an ecosystem would probably be doing paid work, but we just do it because we love it. And like no one makes any money. Like the guy who runs it is the guy who's been doing indie media in St. Louis for like 20 years. And like, it's just a passion project for everyone. And I kind of miss when I could at least get some beer money out of it.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, Buddyhead is back. Website's online. I know you got a zine. I know you got a Patreon.
Yeah, I'm gonna start putting content up like this probably this weekend on Buddyhead. It's been like I had some people in my Discord kind of build the site from scratch, so it's been like a work in progress.
That's sick.
You know, finding out different things aren't working yet and just kind of having to fine tune things so they all work how we want it to work. But it's kind of at the point now where I'm able to put up some content. I put up some news. It's just like kind of what's happening at Los Angeles, our venue at this point. But there will be a letter from the editor. That's me this weekend, probably just kind of like giving everyone kind of an update on all the shit we got going on. Cause it is a lot, you know, it's like we got a venue, American Primitive, the movie, stuff on the site, and kind of just call for people if they want to, you know, volunteer their writing, if they think they got what it takes to write for Buddyhead or be a designer or anything. That we're not paying anyone, but they can get hired. So
we're not paying anyone, but we are paying in clout. So
yeah,
you
can earn clout.
I love clout.
They can go take that
we have so much credit, and it doesn't buy anything, so we're gonna start dishing it out.
Yeah, they can go. They can go spend it at high school or whatever. The
Well, Warp Tour's coming back. Maybe they can use it at Warp Tour.
Yeah, you'll be able to cash it in a Warp Tour.
We'll get them on the list.
All our cred.
Cool. Yeah. I can for all this cred, I can get one to write love on her arm wristband. Sick.
There you go.
But yeah, I think it's time now. A few years ago, people asked me about doing Buddyhead, and I didn't really think people were like wanting to go to websites, you know, except to like buy shit, basically. But I do feel like people are tired of the corporate apps, and I feel like there's a lack of independent voices in pretty much everything I'm interested in, which is like music, art, film, politics. You know, it's like there's just a lack of independent voices, and even in independent voices, there's not a lot of them saying what I want to hear. I mean, the goal is to once again kind of create like a hub that's like kind of, you know, shines light on things that we think deserve more attention, and kind of is like a hub for various different voices. And you know, kind of what it's always been is just like us and our homies.
No, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see websites kind of reclaiming the mantle of places to go for stuff, because like you mentioned, people just want to go to Twitter, or people want to go to whatever siloed social media site.
There's 4 websites now and they all suck.
Yeah, and going to a specific site for a specific thing, in particular, like here, like Buddyhead, you know, you want to go, you want to see what Travis says, or what, you know, anybody else who's going to come in and write says, because the voices are the whole point. And that's the thing I've always appreciated about the site, and about even going as far back as like when the site started. There was definitely a sense of there's a voice. You know, obviously it's not just one person, but there's kind of a house style, if you will.
Yeah, it was definitely like a collective voice, you know, and it's like drawn from like a lot of people. Like one of the influences is our friend Sean McCabe, who passed away like right when Buddyhead started. He was like the singer of Ink and Dagger. And just his like presence and the way that he handled himself, we kind of like absorbed that, you know. And it's like, it's a lot of things too. It's like the vibe of like Sub Pop Records in the 90s, the world domination shit, and Touch and Go, and you know, Big Brother magazine, and Thrasher. Absolutely. And you know, different zines that we grew up on. It's an amalgamation of just like everything that we kind of thought was cool growing up, you know.
I clocked the Thrasher stuff too, because I'm like, okay, these guys are clearly coming from a skating background. These guys are clearly like, they own all the Bones Brigade tapes. Like, you know?
Yeah, skateboarding's like the thing that kind of connected me to everything. Like I grew up in like a culturally like devoid area of the United States called the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in Idaho, Washington State. In the 90s, you'd have to drive like, you know, 2-3 hours to even hit like a record store, or like, you know, do mail order, you know, there just to get any kind of like culture. It was like, you know, a trek, you know. So skateboarding to me was like, it kind of connected me to like, you know, filming and photography and music, because it was like every skateboard video had every genre imaginable on it. It would be like rap music into like Led Zeppelin, into like punk rock, into like jazz. So it was like, you know, this is before the internet, so to be able to hear like different genres was kind of a big thing for a kid at my age. You know, it exposed me to a lot, and just kind of connected me to everything that like I ended up being into later in life.
I mean, I can certainly say the same. Again, St. Louis, not that different. We'll say that.
Oh yeah, jeez. The Finally Refused record felt like you got lucky,
and you had to get that at full price at Hot Topic too. So that was a whole mess. Yeah.
Do you guys know the St. Louis bands, the Hibernauts?
Oh yeah.
The Bobby Dazzlers.
Yeah.
That's like my friend Jackie's bands. He was in those bands, and he passed away. Like he died in a motorcycle accident. But he moved to LA like a couple years ago and started this surf band called the Cauterizers. And I put out like 3 EPs, I think. But we're just getting like this next week. We're getting their debut on vinyl. I'm putting it out on Buddyhead.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, he's a St. Louis alumni.
Yeah, he was always a sweetheart. Only met him a few times. I photographed the Hibernauts a handful of times, and they were super good. Always great guys to hang out with. And when I heard that he passed, it took a second for like all the kind of resonate. I'm like, fuck. I had like lost touch with him for a minute.
Yeah,
because we weren't like super close. It's just like, oh, I'd see him and be like, hey, what's up? I photograph your band. He'd be like, okay, cool. And talk a little, but always had good vibes. People were definitely distraught when they heard of his passing around here. Like I said, it took me a second for it to really hit, and I'm like, "Fuck, man, that guy was tight." And he went out to L.A.
Yeah,
and was doing cool
coolest,
shit.
man.
I'm like, man, all right, that's a bummer. What an awful way for someone who had such good energy to leave this world.
Yeah, he was one of the coolest. It's a drag. It feels cool though, because I promised him. They finished recording their record like 3 weeks before he passed, and we'd already started talking about it. Picked the record cover, and I told him we were going to put it out, and it's cool. Like a year and some change later to have it finally coming out.
Hell yeah,
feels like we did something, And it's a fucking great record too. You should check it out. It's called Bender Ender by the Cauterizers. It's on streaming. And we'll have it for sale on the site by the end of the year. And also at our night market on December 21st.
Boom.
So the night market, December 21st, where is that?
That's at our space, Los Angeles. We do some different events every month. I do a night market. Different DJs come. We have some like vinyl vendors, vintage clothing, a couple tattoo artists, beer, and then we just like DJ records. It's kind of like a record store with beer.
Sick.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then we have like projections and stuff. And Joe does a once a month midnight mass, which is I don't know how do you describe it?
It's like it's a meeting of like me and 3 or 4 musicians that have never played together, and we kind of do like an all improvised soundtrack over the evening, with very little communication ahead of time, and just kind of everyone sets up shop in their respected corners, and we give people like an hour and a half of music without any percussion or map, so we just go nuts.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been good. It's not for everyone, but for the people that it is for, I think it's been a good experience. It's like not unlike a meditation, but like a meditation that like pulverizes your cerebral cortex.
It's kind of like really heavy jazz.
Yeah.
It's a deep meditation, and he's got different musicians coming every month, like Snakes of Russia was on there. David Scott Stone, who played with the Locusts, Melvins, and LCD Sound System. Who else do we have there?
Leaf is coming up.
Album Leaf is coming up.
Yeah,
But yeah, just different people every month. So like had a couple sax players last time, and it's pretty fucking cool though. It's out there, but it's cool.
Sounds like my exact jam. I'm gonna be in Mexico, but god damn.
No, we should go out to LA and check that out.
Every month. We do it every month.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
All right, so you fellas want to see something gross?
Maybe.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Go to an incognito window though, because you
you
never know.
You don't want...
Whoa.
That's right. I've started calling.
Is that an ear?
I started calling this Goatse 2. It is actually.
What is that?
That is the same performer from Goatse, Kirk Johnson, but it is another gaping asshole picture.
He's got no balls.
Where's the fruit?
It originally lived at stretch.ragingfist.
Just shaking his head.
Oh, he is the giver. God, that just looks like the worst pie you've ever seen. I hate deep dish pizza.
Gross. You guys are gross.
This interview is over.
Right.
Yeah, this interview's over, dude. You guys are gross.
Sorry, that's a part of the show we call shock.jpg. It's just it's a bit of fun that we like to have.
Rotten.com, dude.
Well, yeah, we did a whole episode of Rotten.
yeah.
Yeah, we really we appreciate the finer things in life, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah, man, it's like going to the dentist.
Yeah.
For your eyes.
Yeah, so that one is actually the same performer from Goatse. You know, the guy stretching his anus with the ring on and all that. That's the same performer. That's Kirk Johnson. And that was another from the same series. And my favorite part, of course, is the URL. It was stretch.ragingfist.net.
Fucking gross, dude.
So what is your guys' experience with like shock sites? Did you guys ever get like tricked into opening Tub Girl or any of that shit?
Every once in a while, you'll get the fucking buff dude sitting on the edge of the bed with the big dick. There's that one that people.
Lemon Party.
Lemon Party.
Yeah.
Oh, a classic.
Lemon Party was a classic. Meat Spin.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't know. I never really got too deep into that stuff. I remember watching Faces of Death as a kid, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, Faces of Death was upsetting.
Yeah.
Everyone like 5 years older than me, that was like their shit, dude.
And tricking people into seeing it. That was, I think, the thing that a lot of people that were older than me at the time were like, hey, check this out. And they'd put that on. Like, God damn it, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I hated it. Like the guy bungee jumping that doesn't take into account the 14th floor and he just like hits the ground. He didn't count the floors right.
With that senator in Pennsylvania that blows his head off.
Oh, yeah.
Press conference.
Bud Dwyer,
Bud
yeah.
Dwyer, step back. This could hurt someone. There was a family video down the street from where I grew up that was one of the last rental places that still had VHSs, and they went probably like, I want to say 2007, 2008, still having VHSs. So me and my friend, being weirdos, would rent stuff from there, and we'd find like all the weird schlocky movies like American Ninja 2, The Stuff, all of the classics, the classic bad movies from the 80s and 90s. But they had a couple shock tapes, and Faces of Death was one of them, and there was one called Taboo Asia. It had a segment on like this interesting sect of Christianity in like Malaysia or something, where people like crucify themselves and like drag the cross.
Yeah, and like the Philippines.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. There was also like a graphic footage of someone having a sex change operation.
Woo!
Yeah, it was not a great thing to be like watching like at 17. I kind of regret that. But we were like two dudes in the Midwest that were bored, that listened to weird music and skateboarded all the time and got harassed by weird dudes in pickup trucks for skateboarding. So being like transgressive and edgy just kind of felt like it came with the territory.
It does.
Well, yeah, because like Thrasher had the whole Hall of Meat section.
Oh yeah.
And all
gnarly,
that
bloody road rash stuff.
I feel like skateboarding was a gateway to some of these shock sites and stuff. Like, oh yeah, here's a guy getting hit by a train.
Cool, thanks.
Extreme culture in general when you're like young and dejected.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
This is the part of the show that we call the breath mint. After we see something gross, we like to talk about something nice, something that we like, something that we've enjoyed. So, since the both of you are our guests, why don't you guys start us off? Let's start with Joe. Joe, was something caught your ear or your eyes this week?
Yeah, let's see this week what's been holding me up. I mean, the same as everybody else on the planet. The new Kendrick record's fucking great, especially if you're from Los Angeles. You know, it's like as far as mainstream music goes, it doesn't get much better than that, you know?
How many times a week do you find yourself yelling mustard at somebody?
Yeah, I will say, check this out. So like, I don't have Spotify. I use Apple Music, not for any real reasons except for Spotify looks ugly to me.
Yeah.
But
He hates the green color.
yeah, it's just ugly. It's like, this is gross. My like Apple year wrap up or whatever the fuck, they do the same stupid thing, right?
Mhm.
My most listened record this year is already the Kendrick record.
No way.
Yeah, over the
Whoa.
full year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you just had it on random the other times.
Yeah. And then there's that one spiritualized song. It's my most listened song. sucks because it was just the first song that comes on in my car.
Because alphabetically, it's like the first song.
Like, I fucking hate that song.
Oh no, what song is it?
The A song.
Oh.
It's called the A song. It's on one of their new records, and it's just the it's the first thing that pops on in the car for some fucked up reason. It's like some Groundhog's Day, like gun in your ass.
Sucks,
shit,
dude. Yeah, the A song it's called. It actually is called that.
I deleted it off my phone, dude. I was like, this can't.
It would just
happen
play
anymore.
every time we turned the car on. It was just like, oh god. It's not even like a good spiritualized song
Yeah,
either,
it's
even if you're a
fucked.
fan.
It's truly fucked.
It's 7 minutes long.
Jesus wept. Yeah,
Now it's Amen by Suicide.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Travis, how about yourself?
I also have been listening to the Kendrick record. I like the new Jamie XX record a lot.
Oh yeah,
I think it's great. I have tickets to go see him in January. I'm excited for that. And then I've been backtracking a little bit, and I like the last Playboi Carti record a lot.
okay.
And then speaking of spiritualized, I like the new thing that Jay Spaceman did. It's like called Music for William Eggleston's Stranded.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of like, it's him and two other dudes just kind of like jamming, and they're not really songs. It's kind of just like jams.
They're like
It's pretty
jamming
cool.
over like Eggleston. You know, you're a photographer. You know that. Dude,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like some.
He was
field
like one of the
recordings.
OG like street photographers.
So it's like some field recordings he did of some of the people he was hanging with, and they're like soundtracking it kind of in a loose way.
It's cool though. It's a good like put on and like work on shit type music.
Oh
you know?
shit! I'm going to check that out. That sounds like my jam.
Yeah, you'll dig it.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And then I also like these artists from Detroit called High Tech. It's another house music. Jamie XX, I think, is house music. And this is, they call it ghetto house music. It's kind of like rap music, but really fast, and they call it High Tech.
Okay. Fuck yeah. All right. I'm going to give that a shot. Jason, what you got?
Oh well, you and I went to see Senses Fail and Saves the Day. Oh boy,
That was an experience.
It was indeed. Here at the pageant in St. Louis, a nice, decent room. What's the cap on that one?
It's like 2,300 depending on how young the crowd is. A younger crowd, you can put more people in. if you got an older crowd, it's a few less.
Yeah, so it was Saves the Day doing their 25th anniversary of the 1999 album Through Being Cool, which was a formative record from my youth. So I was like, okay, I got to go see this. And what really shocked me was that the lead singer is the only guy left from the band. Like everyone else was like a ringer.
Like from Chile. They sounded great. If I were a fan of that band, I would have felt like I got my money's worth out of that performance.
Oh, for sure.
The thing that I found myself chuckling about was as I'm getting ready to photograph them, I'm like, wait, didn't Buddyhead write something about how the dude from Saves the Day has a huge mouth? And I'm like, the whole entire time I'm photographing, like, is his mouth that big? His mouth is a little big.
Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that dude has a huge mouth.
A lot of times I'll look back at stuff and not even remember writing it, honestly. We wrote a lot of stuff in a short amount of period of time.
Absolutely, yeah. But that, again, a thing that stuck with me was the Buddyhead riff, or at least what I remember the Buddyhead riff being. I'm like, his mouth is, it's not too bad.
Big mouth.
I don't think he could put his own fist in his mouth.
I don't know. We
But
shall see.
They sounded good.
It was Census Fail that when we decided to leave, I think.
Yeah, that was rough. I've been photographing live music for 14, 15 years now. I've seen some people have some rough nights on stage. That was one of the more uncomfortable ones I've seen in a minute, particularly
Senses Fail.
Census Fail, yeah.
What the fuck even is that?
Yeah, I don't even know. They're like hardcore.
Are they a hardcore band?
No,
Not
I think
really.
you're thinking of Shadows Fall.
I'm not thinking of anything really. I'm just shooting in the dark here.
Yeah, I'm just going by the way the name sounds.
So a New Jersey emo punk thing, if Alkaline Trio was a little bit harder, maybe like Bayside.
Okay, got it.
But yeah,
sounds tough.
Their album Let It Enfold You was a classic at that time, like 2001 or so.
Okay.
But again, among the mall goth people that I was friends with, so you got to take that with a grain of salt.
In certain circles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Buddy, the lead singer, was having a rough night though.
Yeah, he was going on weird tangents about, because it was Wednesday, it was Blackout Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. We're all going to have to go talk with our family. No one wants to talk about politics. No one cares about that shit.
It was like MAGA.
No, I expected it. I thought it was going to happen.
It was
thought
like
sure-
really weird. Like it's like, listen, like I think you're expressing something that most of us can relate to on some level, but we're all a little scared of where this is going.
I thought for sure it was going to happen any minute.
But he like brought Dan, the vocalist from Story of the Year, which is another band that had a hit song with a riff that sounded too much like that Refused riff.
Heyo.
That was like the era. I didn't realize until I was like looking back that like in the early 2000s, if there was a band that had a hit song, they usually had a riff that was like, this is just a Refused riff, but with less distortion, more palm muting, a different key. And you're like, oh man, that really did just get face fucked to death. But anyways,
it was either that Refused riff or it was an At the Drive-In riff.
Two bands that spawned a wave of diarrhea. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's just so many shit bands that say like, oh, we love Refused, and it's like, could you not though?
It's weird. Isn't it crazy how that happens? It's like Rage Against the Machine's probably another one. Like, they have a couple classic records, Rage Against the Machine, but like every band that was highly influenced by them is probably the worst band in the world.
Yeah, or like
Deftones. Like you could count them on your hands. Yeah,
for sure.
We're talking about being influenced by Rage Against the Machine. Right?
I'm just saying, like the band Hum from Chicago influenced the Deftones, and like a million other bands were influenced then by the Deftones, and it's like
there's not a lot of good bands that say they like the Deftones.
Right.
It just gets worse. Yeah, it just gets worse.
It's like that meme where they're just shitting in each other's mouth, and at the end, it's just like extra shitty. Yeah.
It's like the band Chat Pile from Oklahoma City. They kind of like buck that trend because like the bass player, I believe, is like a huge Korn fan, and he's like, yeah, that's just kind of like a part of our sound is really influenced by Korn, and no one else in the band wants to acknowledge it. But yes, if you like listen to their latest record,
we've all been there.
We all know that one person.
We've all been there.
But actually, it's like this is like the cool shit for like the first Korn record. Like, oh, and this was kind of interesting and new. And I'm like, okay, I kind of see it. But also that new Chat Pile record is just like a scary, insane, heavy music.
Fucking sick.
I fucking love it. But the two from Census Fails is having a hard time, and he brought Dan out from Story of the Year, and Dan like kind of had this look on his face that he didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, don't do this to me, dude.
Don't do this to me in front of all these nice people. I have family in the crowd. And then, about 20 minutes later, we're like, okay, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah, we sat through about 4 more songs, and we're like, this is the second half of the record, the part that I don't care about, and also like, this has just become really uncomfortable.
He did start ranting about the Creepy Crawl, which was kind of funny. But he was talking about playing the Creepy Crawl with My Chemical Romance, and people do talk about My Chemical Romance playing the Creepy Crawl, but they do not talk about Census Fail being on that bill, which was kind of the funny part. Like, oh yeah, you did play that show. It's like I felt like that guy needed needed a friend.
We're like, this guy needs a friend. We're gonna leave.
Exactly.
This guy needs a friend, and it's not me or him.
Not me. We don't know him.
Yeah.
This guy needs a friend to push him off a bridge.
This guy's going through it. Let's get out of here.
Well, I did not want it to be like 11 p.m. and he's.
Where'd you guys go?
Oh, I went home.
Yeah.
Because I'm lame and old.
I'm old and boring. But like I texted someone who was at that show. I'm like, did it get any weirder? And they just responded with, I hope he gets the help he needs.
Oh, fuck.
Oh man. Well, I'm here if he needs help. You can reach out. He hears this.
We should send him the fucking Indiegogo page, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys need to clear your conscience?
Maybe he wants to be a movie producer.
Yeah. It's like time for a career shift.
Come on, buddy.
Well, Brian, how about you? Anything else aside from that rang your bell this week?
Just not too much.
What else did you shoot?
I photographed Suki Waterhouse at the factory Tuesday night. That show didn't sell well.
Oh no!
A lot of people in St. Louis wanted to see Mrs. Robert Patterson. I think that I had to explain to a coworker what Suki Waterhouse's music was like.
That's so sick.
And I was like, you know who Angel Olsen is? And they're like, no. I'm like, imagine every slow Angel Olsen song, but like chopped and screwed. Oof. And they're like, what? So just like really slow? I'm like, yes. Like they're really interesting songs, but they're like all 70 BPM.
Wild.
The record's got a couple bangers on it. There's a reason why you should probably at least like listen to, like go on her Spotify. Like there's a couple songs there. I'm not going to listen to them at the gym, but like I might put them on while I'm like doing dishes or something. But she has a good voice. She dresses really nice. She has, she's got a vibe.
Okay.
She's got a good band. Bully was the opener though, which I think is the
Oh.
thing that I was most excited about. I haven't seen them in a couple years, and to see them on a tour like that was pretty neat, because the first time I photographed them, they were playing a coffee house here in St. Louis to not even 40 people. And here they're opening up for, Suki Waterhouse, who's playing 3,000, 4,000 cap rooms. Unfortunately, St. Louis just did not have the Riz for Suki Waterhouse, but it was a good performance. She sounded great. I got some really great photos, but it was also just this weird thing of like, this could have been like a 1,000 cap room, and it would have been fine.
Would have sold it out. Yeah.
You could have put it in the pageant, was sold out. You could have put it in Del Mar Hall. It would have been comfy.
Wouldn't have been able to take that big check, though.
I know. Yeah, that's the trick. And if I had my druthers, I would much rather sell out a small room than have an empty big room.
Oh, it's not about what you want. It's about what the
I know.
yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't that always the way?
I've had a few promoters tell me stories about like, yeah, you guys can play the bigger room that I have access to, but no one's going to show up. Or you can play the smaller room and have a fucking barn burner.
For sure.
And make the same amount of money. No, I want my band to be miserable. Okay.
It really does feel like that's the choice.
But yeah, Suki Waterhouse, good tour, great live performance. I hope she decides to come back to St. Louis sometime. The last time I was there for at the factory was for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and that was like sold out and like fucking insane. People were losing their fucking minds over a bunch of Australian dudes playing microtonal songs. like the fuck?
Suki's just paying her dues, guys. She's just paying her dues.
She's paying her dues in the 3,200 cap rooms in the Midwest.
Yeah. This is her sleeping on floors. Dude.
God damn.
We still got it.
You gotta start somewhere, right, fellas?
Yeah. Jesus.
Exactly.
Just because you're bored on third base doesn't mean the ride to home.
These days you have to start at the top, bro.
It's fucking sick, sad world, isn't it? Fuck. God damn.
That was an uplifting talk, boys.
That sound tells me that it's time to end the.
Everything's fucked.
Until next time, we'll see you guys.
So this is part of the show where we would tell people where to find us online. Let's go ahead and start with Joe. Joe, where can they find you on the old internet?
I don't have a website, but American Primitive does. AmericanPrimitive.org / fuck you.
Hell yeah. All right, Travis, how about you?
Buddyhead.com, Buddyhead / on Instagram, and Los Angeles 1457 on Instagram as well.
And don't forget patreon.com/buddyhead, right?
That's true.
Yeah. And you can sign up for the email list so I can spam you on buddyhead.com.
Let's go.
And that keeps you informed of all our bullshit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you join the Patreon, you get access to the Discord server, which has like 3,000 people on there, and it's its own little world there. So yeah, that's my pitch.
Brian, how about you?
Hell yeah. You can find me on Twitter at ishotguidibord, ISHOTGUIDBORD. Instagram at amusicphotographer.com. I keep it simple. I have a website that's never going to be working again. It's amusicphotographer.com. But if you want to check out my portfolio, which is always going to be up, it's assholemusicphotographer.com. If you want to check out the last and only good music media website in St. Louis, you go over to theartsstl.com. My mannequin pussy photos just went up the other day, thanks to Jason Green. That was a killer ass show. Please check that out. There's a lot of other good stuff. I think they're on 150 days straight of new content. People are putting in the work, and reward them with your eyeball minutes. Jason.
Oh, yeah. You can find me online any place there's a video crime. Chances are that's going to be me. That's Blue Sky, and pretty much anywhere else, Letterboxd, whatever you can think of. You can also find the show a number of ways. My personal favorite is the telephone, 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO if you like to spell with your telephone. You can also shoot us an email, Jason at 8 minutesofdogsbarking.com, or Brian with a Y at 8 minutesofdogsbarking.com. And you can also support the show, patreon.com/48 minutes of dogs. There you will find our weekly show called Thanks I Hate It. It's the post-show hangout where we hang out and do whatever.
Usually complain about stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly complaining. But if you sign up before the end of the year, which is fast approaching, you get yourself a 90-minute commentary track on a Japanese puke fetish video, Garo Monster Home Delivery. I'm not looking forward to it, but we said we were going to do it, and God damn it, we're gonna make it happen. So
Merry Christmas, everyone. We put ourselves through some extreme discomfort. The Christmas we're just going to puke on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Good answer, man.
Yeah, there's really no other way to say it.
We're going to call up Jeff Wood of Shat and see if he can...
I can get you an interview. Let me know.
Okay. You know what? We'll talk after the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man. Well, as we always say at this time, namaste, good luck, give mommy a good gut fucking. 25th Amendment now. Who ate all the pussy? I got nothing.
Goodbye. Good night. We love
Later.
you.
Thanks for having us.
That's success.